When billionaire Arthur Hayes invited 8-year-old Lena to play chess just for fun, he thought he was being kind to his maid's daughter. He had no idea he was about to discover a once-in-a-lifetime genius. Lena wasn't supposed to touch the beautiful golden chess set in his mansion library. But when the rich man saw her staring at the pieces with wonder, he offered to teach her the game. What happened next shocked everyone. This quiet little girl didn't just learn chess. She destroyed every opponent like she was born to play. Move after move, her mind worked like magic, seeing patterns that even experts missed. But as the chess world buzzed about this incredible child, two questions emerged that would change everything. Why did this billionaire really care about teaching a maid's daughter? And why did his gray eyes look exactly like Lena's? Lena Peterson pressed her nose against the cool window of the fancy car. She had never seen a house so big. It looked like a castle from her picture books, with tall white columns and windows that sparkled like diamonds in the sunshine. "Remember what I told you?" her mother, Sophia, whispered, smoothing down Lena's curly black hair. "Stay quiet and don't touch anything." Lena nodded. She was good at being quiet. At 8 years old, she had learned that being quiet kept her out of trouble. The car stopped in front of the huge house. Sophia took a deep breath and squeezed Lena's hand. "The babysitter got sick, baby. I'm sorry you have to come to work with me today." "It's okay, Mama," Lena said softly. "I brought my homework." They walked up the long driveway. Lena's eyes grew wide as she looked at the beautiful gardens and the fountain with stone angels. She had never seen anything so fancy. Inside the mansion, Lena's mouth fell open. The ceiling was so high she had to tilt her head back to see the top. A giant chandelier hung down like a crystal waterfall. The floors were made of shiny marble that reflected everything like a mirror. "Stay close to me," Sophia whispered, pulling a cart full of cleaning supplies. They went into a room filled with books from floor to ceiling. Lena had never seen so many books in one place. In the center of the room sat a table with the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. It was a chess set, but not like the plastic one at school. These pieces looked like tiny soldiers made of real gold and silver. The white pieces gleamed like sunshine, and the black pieces shone like midnight. The board was made of marble with squares that looked like little mirrors. "Wow!" Lena breathed, forgetting to be quiet. "Lena, come here," Sophia called from across the room. "Sit at that small table and do your homework. Don't touch anything." Lena sat down and opened her math book, but she couldn't stop looking at the chess set. The pieces seemed to call to her. She knew it was a chess set because her teacher had taught the class the basic rules during indoor recess, but she had never played a real game. The king stood tall and proud in the center. The queen next to him looked powerful and important. The horses, knights, her teacher had called them, looked ready to jump into battle. Even the small pieces in front, the pawns, seemed to have their own special purpose. "You like chess?" Lena jumped so hard her pencil flew across the room. She spun around to see a tall man with gray hair and kind blue eyes. He wore a dark suit, but his smile was warm. "I'm sorry, sir," Lena stammered, her heart beating fast. "I wasn't touching anything. I was just looking." This had to be Mr. Arthur Hayes, the owner of the mansion. Her mother had told her he was very rich and very important. Lena had imagined he would be scary, but he didn't look scary at all. "It's okay," Mr. Hayes said gently. "I asked if you like chess." "I don't know how to play, sir," Lena whispered. "My teacher showed us the pieces once, but I never played a real game." Sophia appeared quickly, her face worried. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Hayes." "Lena, come here right now. You shouldn't bother Mr. Hayes." "She's not bothering me at all," Mr. Hayes said, his eyes still on Lena. "Actually, I was just thinking how quiet this old house gets. Would you like to learn how to play chess?" Lena, just for fun. Lena looked at her mother, then back at Mr. Hayes. Really? Really, if your mother says it's okay. Sophia twisted her hands together. Mr. Hayes, you don't need to. I mean, you must be very busy. Not too busy to teach a bright young lady about chess, Mr. Hayes said. What do you say, Lena? Lena's eyes lit up like Christmas morning. Yes, please. Mr. Hayes sat down across from her at the chess table. Up close, the pieces were even more beautiful. He began to explain how each piece moved, and something magical happened. Lena understood everything right away. Not just understood. She could see how the pieces worked together. It was like looking at a puzzle where all the parts made sense. The pawn can only move forward one square, Mr. Hayes explained. Unless it's the pawn's first move, then it can move 2 squares. And it attacks diagonally, Lena added, surprising herself. Mr. Hayes raised his eyebrows. That's right. How did you know that? I don't know. It just makes sense. As Mr. Hayes explained each piece, Lena felt like she was learning a secret language. The board wasn't just a game. It was like a battlefield where every piece had a job to do. The knight moves in an L shape, Mr. Hayes said, showing her. It's the only piece that can jump over other pieces. Lena nodded, already seeing how the knight could surprise enemy pieces. Her mind began to picture different ways the pieces could move together. You're a very quick learner, Mr. Hayes said, studying her face. There was something in his expression that Lena couldn't understand. He looked surprised, but also something else, something that made her think of the way her mother looked at old photographs. Would you like to play a simple game? He asked. Yes, please. They set up the pieces and began to play. Lena lost, of course, but something amazing happened during the game. She almost trapped his king in the corner. She could see 3 moves ahead, like watching a movie in her mind. When the game ended, Mr. Hayes stared at the board for a long time. Then he looked at Lena with those kind blue eyes. Lena, would you like to come back tomorrow and play another game? Can I, Mama? Lena asked, her voice full of hope. Sophia nodded slowly, but her face looked worried. If Mr. Hayes is sure. I'm very sure, Mr. Hayes said. Same time tomorrow? Yes, sir, Lena said, bouncing in her chair. But as they left the mansion that evening, Lena couldn't shake the feeling that something important had happened. Mr. Hayes had looked at her like he was seeing a ghost, and when he smiled, something about his face reminded her of someone she couldn't quite remember, but felt like she should know. That night, Lena lay in her small bed, staring at the ceiling. She kept thinking about the chess pieces and how they moved. In her mind, she could see the golden king and silver queen dancing across the marble board. Mama, she called softly. Sophia appeared in the doorway. What is it, baby? Do I look like anyone you know? Sophia's face went very still. What do you mean? Sometimes people say I look like someone, but they never say who. And today Mr. Hayes looked at me funny, like he'd seen me before. You look like yourself, Lena. That's all that matters. Sophia's voice sounded tight. Go to sleep now. But Lena noticed her mother didn't turn on the hall light like she usually did. Instead, she sat on the old couch in the living room for a long time, looking at something in her hands. The next day couldn't come fast enough for Lena. At school, she could barely pay attention to her lessons. All she could think about was chess. Lena, what's 8 by 7? Mrs. Rodriguez asked. 56, Lena answered quickly, but her mind was somewhere else. She was thinking about how the knight could jump over pawns to attack the enemy pieces. When school ended, Lena practically ran to her mother's old car. Someone's excited, Sophia said with a small smile. Can we go to Mr. Hayes's house now, please? We're going, baby, but remember what I told you. Be polite and don't get your hopes up too high. What do you mean? Rich people sometimes make promises they don't keep. If Mr. Hayes is too busy today, don't be upset. But Mr. Hayes wasn't too busy. He was waiting in the library with the chess set already arranged. Good afternoon, Lena, he said warmly. Ready for another game? Yes, sir. This time, Lena lasted longer before losing. She managed to capture 2 of his pawns and even put his king in check once. Excellent move, Mr. Hayes said when she moved her bishop. You're thinking several moves ahead. It's like watching a movie in my head, Lena explained. I can see where the pieces want to go. Mr. Hayes went very quiet. He studied her face for a long moment. Have you been practicing at home? No, sir, we don't have a chess set. But I think about the games before I fall asleep. What do you think about? Different ways the pieces could move. Better ways to protect my king. How to make traps for your pieces. Mr. Hayes's hands stopped moving over the chessboard. Lena, do you dream about chess sometimes? Last night I dreamed that all the pieces were dancing, but they were following rules, like they were doing a special dance that only they knew. Something flickered in Mr. Hayes's blue eyes. What else do you dream about? I dream about having a daddy sometimes, Lena said quietly. In my dreams, he teaches me things and we play games together. Sophia, who had been dusting bookshelves nearby, dropped her cloth. Though Lena and Mr. Hayes looked at her, she quickly picked it up and kept working. What does your dream daddy look like? Mr. Hayes asked softly. Lena scrunched up her face, thinking. He has kind eyes and gray hair, and he smiles a lot. She paused. Kind of like you, I guess. Mr. Hayes's face went very pale. He cleared his throat and stood up suddenly. I should let you get back to your homework, he said. Same time tomorrow? Yes, please. But as they walked to the car, Lena noticed Mr. Hayes watching them from his big window. He looked sad and happy at the same time. The chess games became a daily routine. Every afternoon after school, Lena would sit across from Mr. Hayes and lose herself in the beautiful game. And every day she got much better. By the end of the first week, she was capturing more of his pieces. By the second week, she was creating clever traps. By day 15, something amazing happened. Checkmate, Lena said softly, staring at the board in surprise. Mr. Hayes leaned back in his chair and smiled. Congratulations, Lena. That was beautifully played. I won. I really won. You really won, and it wasn't luck. You planned that victory 5 moves ago. Lena's heart felt like it might burst with happiness. She had beaten Mr. Hayes at chess. Can we play again right now? Of course. They played 3 more games that afternoon. Lena won 2 of them. That evening, after Sophia and Lena left, Mr. Hayes sat alone in his library. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. Dr. Lin, it's Arthur Hayes. I need you to come to my house tomorrow. There's a child I want you to meet. What kind of child? Dr. Lin asked. The kind that only comes along once in a lifetime. Meanwhile, at their small apartment, Lena helped her mother make dinner. She chatted excitedly about chess moves and strategies, but she noticed her mother seemed distracted. Mama, are you okay? I'm fine, baby. Just tired. That night, Lena got up to get a drink of water. She found her mother sitting at the kitchen table, looking at an old shoebox. Inside were photographs and letters tied with a faded ribbon. Mama, what are those? Sophia quickly closed the box. Just old pictures, honey. Go back to bed. But Lena had seen one of the photographs. It showed her mother when she was younger, standing next to a tall man with gray hair and kind blue eyes. A man who looked very familiar. Mama, who was that man in the picture? Sophia's hands started shaking. What man? The one standing next to you. He looked like... Lena paused, trying to understand the feeling in her chest. He looked like someone I should know. There was no man, Lena. You're imagining things. Now go to bed. But Lena knew what she had seen. And as she lay in her bed that night, she couldn't stop thinking about the man in the photograph. He had the same gray hair as Mr. Hayes, the same kind eyes, the same gentle smile, the same eyes that looked back at her from the mirror every morning. In the big mansion across town, Mr. Hayes sat in his study holding an identical photograph. In it, a younger version of himself stood next to Sophia, both of them smiling and happy. On his desk was another picture, a small ultrasound image with Baby Peterson written at the bottom. A tear rolled down his cheek as he whispered, "My daughter, my beautiful, brilliant daughter." The next morning, Mr. Hayes paced around his library like a caged tiger. He had barely slept all night. Today, Dr. Lisa Lynn would arrive to see Lena play chess. Dr. Lynn was the best chess teacher in the country. She had trained 3 world champions and discovered more chess geniuses than anyone else alive. But what if he was wrong? What if Lena was just a smart little girl who happened to be good at games? What if Dr. Lynn thought he was being silly? Then he remembered yesterday's games. The way Lena's eyes had sparkled when she said, "Checkmate." The way she could see moves that most adults would miss. No, he wasn't imagining things. Lena was very special. At school, Lena couldn't concentrate on anything. During math class, she drew chess pieces in the margins of her notebook. During reading time, she imagined the characters in her book playing chess. Even during lunch, she moved her food around on her plate like they were pieces on a board. "Lena, you're being weird today," her friend Emma said. "What's wrong with you?" "Nothing's wrong. I'm just thinking about chess." Emma wrinkled her nose. "That boring game with the horses and castles? Why do you care about that?" Lena wanted to explain that chess wasn't boring at all. It was like magic. Every piece had its own personality and power. The board was like a whole world where anything could happen. But she didn't know how to make Emma understand. "It's just fun," she said finally. When 3 o'clock came, Lena practically flew out of the classroom. Her mother was waiting by the car, but she looked nervous. "Lena, Mr. Hayes has a friend visiting today, a lady who knows a lot about chess." "Really? What's her name?" "Dr. Lynn. She might want to watch you play." Lena felt butterflies dancing in her stomach. "Is she going to test me?" "I don't know, baby. Just play like you always do." At the mansion, they found Mr. Hayes in the library with a small Asian woman who had short black hair and sharp, intelligent eyes. She wore a dark blue suit and carried a briefcase. "Lena," Mr. Hayes said, "this is Dr. Lynn. She's a chess teacher." Dr. Lynn shook Lena's hand. "Hello, Lena. Arthur tells me you've been learning to play chess." "Yes, ma'am. It's really fun." Dr. Lynn smiled, but Lena could tell she was studying her carefully. "Would you like to play a game with me?" Lena looked at Mr. Hayes, who nodded encouragingly. "Okay." They sat down at the beautiful marble chess set. Dr. Lynn arranged the pieces quickly and expertly. Lena could tell she had done this thousands of times before. "I'll play white," Dr. Lynn said. "You can go first." Lena moved her king's pawn forward 2 squares. It was the opening Mr. Hayes had taught her. Dr. Lynn moved her own pawn. Then she sat back and watched as Lena considered her next move. What Dr. Lynn expected was a simple, childish game. Maybe Lena would know how the pieces moved, but she wouldn't understand strategy or planning. Most 8-year-olds played chess like they were just moving toys around. What happened next surprised her completely. Lena didn't just move pieces randomly. She had a plan. Her knights jumped to strong squares. Her bishops pointed toward Dr. Lynn's king like arrows. Every move seemed to build on the last one. Interesting, Dr. Lin murmured after Lena's fifth move. By the 10th move, Dr. Lin was leaning forward, paying close attention. This little girl was playing moves that some of her teenage students wouldn't think of. By the 20th move, Dr. Lin realized she was in trouble. Lena had built a beautiful attack that was coming straight at her king. Check, Lena said softly. Dr. Lin moved her king to safety, but Lena's attack kept coming like a wave. Every piece worked together perfectly. 10 moves later, Dr. Lin saw something that made her heart skip a beat. She was going to lose. This 8-year-old girl was about to beat her at chess. Checkmate, Lena whispered, almost like she couldn't believe it herself. Dr. Lin stared at the board for a full minute without speaking. Then she looked at Lena with wide eyes. That's impossible. Did I do something wrong? Lena asked, worried she had made a mistake. No, sweetheart, you did something amazing. Dr. Lin opened her briefcase and pulled out a thick book of chess puzzles. These were problems that took most adults hours to solve. Some were so hard that even chess masters struggled with them. Lena, I want to show you some chess pictures. Can you tell me how white can win in each one? She showed Lena the first puzzle. Most people needed at least 20 minutes to find the answer. Lena looked at it for 30 seconds. The knight goes here, she said, pointing to a square. Then the king can't escape. Dr. Lin's mouth fell open. That was exactly right. She showed Lena a harder puzzle, then an even harder one. Lena solved each one in minutes, sometimes faster. Mr. Hayes, Dr. Lin said quietly, can I speak with you privately? They walked to the far corner of the library. Lena pretended to study the chessboard, but she could hear them whispering. This child is extraordinary, Dr. Lin said. I've been teaching chess for 25 years, and I've never seen natural talent like this. What does that mean? Mr. Hayes asked. It means she could be a chess champion. With proper training, she could compete with the best players in the world. She could be famous. But she's only 8 years old. The greatest chess players often start young. Bobby Fischer was a master at 13. Some grandmasters were even younger when they showed their gift. Lena felt excited and scared at the same time. She didn't really understand what they were talking about, but it sounded important. What would that mean for her? Mr. Hayes asked. Tournaments, training, travel. A completely different life. Lena saw her mother standing in the doorway, holding her cleaning supplies. Sophia's face was very pale and her hands were shaking. Can we play another game? Lena asked Dr. Lin. She didn't want to think about tournaments and travel. She just wanted to play chess. Of course, dear. They played 2 more games. Lena won both of them. As they were leaving that evening, Mr. Hayes walked with Sophia to the car while Lena skipped ahead. Sophia, we need to talk about Lena's future, he said quietly. Sophia stopped walking. What do you mean? She has a gift, a rare gift. She could have opportunities that most children only dream of. She's just a little girl playing a game. No, Sophia, she's much more than that. Mr. Hayes's voice was gentle but firm. And I think you know it. Sophia's hands were shaking as she opened the car door. I need to go home. Sophia, wait. Mr. Hayes's voice was soft but serious. There's something else we need to discuss about Lena's father. Sophia froze like a statue. Her whole body went stiff. I don't know what you mean. I think you do. Sophia got in the car quickly and started the engine. But as she drove away, Lena saw Mr. Hayes standing in the driveway in her side mirror. He looked sad and lonely under the big street light. Mama, why did Mr. Hayes want to talk about my father? I don't know, baby, but I don't have a father. Sophia was quiet for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was shaky. Everyone has a father, Lena. Sometimes they just can't be with us. Why can't mine be with us? It's complicated, honey. You'll understand when you're older. That night, Lena lay in bed thinking about chess puzzles and fathers and the way Mr. Hayes had looked at her mother. Something big was happening. Something the grown-ups understood, but she didn't. And for the first time since she started playing chess, Lena felt a little bit scared. The next week, Dr. Lin came back with news that would change everything. There's a children's chess tournament next month, she announced, setting down a colorful flyer on the marble chess table. I want to enter Lena. Lena looked at the flyer. It showed kids her age sitting at chessboards in a big, fancy room. The words Young Champions Chess Tournament were written in gold letters across the top. She's only 8 years old, Sophia said quickly. The other children will be older. Age doesn't matter in chess, Sophia, Dr. Lin explained patiently. What matters is talent. And Lena has more talent than I've seen in 20 years of teaching. Mr. Hayes leaned forward in his chair. I think we should let her try. It's not your decision, Sophia said sharply. The room went completely quiet. Everyone stared at Sophia, including Lena. Her mother's face was red and her hands were clenched into fists. I'm sorry, Sophia said quickly, looking embarrassed. I don't want her to get hurt. Mom, I want to try, Lena said softly. Chess is fun. Maybe playing with other kids will be fun too. Sophia looked at her daughter's hopeful face and sighed. If you really want to, baby. I do. I really, really do. 3 weeks later, they drove to the big city for the tournament. Lena had never been anywhere so fancy. The hotel was enormous, with shiny marble floors and crystal lights hanging from the ceiling like frozen fireworks. Stay close to me, Sophia whispered, holding Lena's hand tightly. Why are you so nervous, Mama? I just don't want anything bad to happen to you. What bad thing could happen? It's just chess. But when they walked into the tournament room, Lena understood why her mother was worried. There were dozens of chessboards set up in perfect rows. Kids from 8 to 16 sat at the tables, all looking very serious and important. Some of them had coaches whispering advice in their ears. I don't belong here, Lena whispered to her mother. Yes, you do, said a familiar voice behind them. Lena turned to see Mr. Hayes walking toward them with Dr. Lin. He was carrying a small bag and wearing a kind smile. You belong here more than anyone, he said firmly. But look at all these kids. They look so smart and serious. So do you, and you're smarter than you know. Dr. Lin led them to a table where a tournament director was checking names on a long list. Lena Peterson? The man asked. That's me, Lena said quietly. You're our youngest player this year. Good luck. Lena's first opponent was a 12-year-old boy named Marcus who had won last year's tournament. He had brown hair and serious brown eyes, and he wore a shirt that said, Chess Champion on it. Marcus looked at Lena and laughed. They're letting babies play now? I'm not a baby, Lena said politely. Checkmate. Same thing. This will be over in 10 minutes. They sat down at the chessboard. Marcus set up his pieces quickly, like he had done it a million times. Lena arranged hers carefully, remembering what Mr. Hayes had taught her about treating each piece with respect. You can go first, Marcus said, sounding bored already. Lena moved her king's pawn forward 2 squares. Marcus moved his pawn quickly, barely looking at the board. But as the game continued, Marcus stopped looking bored. Lena's pieces moved across the board like they were dancing. Every move had a purpose. Every piece worked together like members of a team. What they? Marcus muttered, staring at the board. Other people started gathering around their table to watch. Word was spreading that something unusual was happening. She's only 8. Look at that move. Incredible. 20 minutes later, Lena moved her queen and said softly, "Checkmate." The room went completely quiet. Marcus stared at the board like he couldn't believe what had happened. You beat me," he said in shock. "You played really well," Lena said kindly. "Thank you for the game." Marcus smiled for the first time. "That was the best game I've ever played, even though I lost. You're going to be famous someday." Lena won her second game against a 10-year-old girl from Texas, then her third game against a 13-year-old boy from New York, then her fourth game against a girl who had been playing chess since she was 5. "Who is that kid?" people whispered. "Where did she come from? She makes it look so easy." But during her fifth game, something sad happened. Her opponent was a 9-year-old girl named Sarah who had practiced for months to get ready for the tournament. When Lena won the game, Sarah started crying. "I practiced every day," Sarah sobbed. "I studied chess books and worked with a coach, and you make it look like you're just playing for fun." Lena felt terrible. She hadn't meant to make anyone cry. "You did play really well," Lena said gently. "I could tell you practiced a lot. It doesn't matter. You're just naturally better than everyone. Maybe we could be friends?" Lena asked. "I don't have many friends who like chess." Sarah stopped crying and looked at Lena with surprise. "You want to be my friend?" "Yes. You seem really nice and you love chess like I do." Sarah smiled through her tears. "I'd like that." After 6 games, Lena was in first place. She hadn't lost a single game. The tournament director announced that she was the youngest player ever to reach the finals. That night in their hotel room, Sophia watched Lena sleep. Mr. Hayes knocked softly on the door. "She's amazing, Sophia," he said quietly. "The whole chess world is talking about her." "I know. That's what scares me." "Why?" "This could change her life forever. She could have the best education, travel the world, meet incredible people." Sophia turned to face him. Her eyes were full of tears. "Arthur, we can't keep pretending." "Pretending what?" "You know what? Look at her. Really look at her." Mr. Hayes's face went very pale. "Sophia, she has your eyes, your way of thinking about problems, your gift for seeing patterns that other people miss." "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" "I'm saying it's time to tell her the truth." Mr. Hayes sat down heavily in the chair by the window. "How long have you known?" "That I knew since the first day you offered to teach her chess. You didn't just randomly pick my daughter to be kind to. You recognized her." "She's my daughter too, isn't she?" Sophia nodded, tears rolling down her cheeks. "She's your daughter too." They sat in silence for a long time, watching Lena sleep peacefully. Tomorrow she would play in the tournament finals. Tomorrow she might become the youngest chess champion in history. But tonight, 2 parents sat together, finally ready to tell their daughter the truth about who she really was. The next morning was the tournament finals. Lena woke up excited, but something felt different. Her mother was sitting by the window, still wearing yesterday's clothes. Her eyes were red, like she had been crying. "Mama, are you okay?" Sophia tried to smile, but it looked shaky. "We need to talk, baby. You and me and Mr. Hayes. Right now. But the tournament starts in 2 hours. This is more important than chess." Lena felt her stomach twist into knots. When grown-ups said something was more important than the thing you loved most, it usually meant bad news. They met in Mr. Hayes's hotel room. It was much bigger than theirs, with a fancy couch and a view of the whole city. Mr. Hayes looked just as tired as her mother. His gray hair was messy and he kept running his hands through it. "Lena, sit down, sweetheart," he said gently. Lena sat on the big couch between her mother and Mr. Hayes. The room felt too quiet, like everyone was holding their breath. "Remember when you asked me about your father?" her mother began. Lena nodded. She had asked that question many times, but her mother always said they would talk about it when she was older. Well, I wasn't completely honest with you. What do you mean? Sophia reached into her purse and pulled out the old photograph Lena had glimpsed that night in the kitchen, the one with the young man who looked familiar. This is your father. Lena took the picture with shaking hands. She studied the young man's face carefully. He had kind gray eyes and a gentle smile. He looked happy standing next to her mother. But that looks like Mr. Hayes when he was young. Because it is Mr. Hayes, Sophia whispered. The room spun around Lena like a merry-go-round. She looked at the picture, then at Mr. Hayes, then back at the picture. Mr. Hayes is my daddy? Mr. Hayes's eyes filled with tears. He slid down from his chair and knelt in front of Lena, taking her small hands in his big ones. Yes, sweetheart. I'm your father. I've wanted to tell you for so long. But why didn't you? Sophia started crying again. Because I was scared. 9 years ago, your father and I worked together. I was his assistant and he was my boss. We fell in love. But I thought people would say I was only after his money. You were never after my money, Mr. Hayes said firmly. You were the kindest, smartest, most beautiful person I'd ever met. When I found out I was going to have you, Sophia continued, I was so happy, but then I got scared. What if people said you weren't good enough for his world? What if they said mean things about us? So you left, Mr. Hayes said sadly. You disappeared with Lena, and I looked for you for years. I wanted to give you a normal life, Sophia told Lena. Away from all the money and pressure and people watching everything you do. Lena was quiet for a long time, thinking like she did during chess games. She looked at Mr. Hayes's face, really seeing it for the first time. He had the same nose as her, the same way of tilting his head when he was thinking. Is that why I'm good at chess? Because you're my daddy and you're smart. Mr. Hayes smiled through his tears. Maybe, but mostly you're good because you're special all by yourself. Are you mad at me for not telling you sooner? Sophia asked, her voice shaking. Mad? Lena thought about this. No, but I'm sad. I always wanted a daddy, and you were right here the whole time. I'm so sorry, baby. And are you mad at me? Lena asked Mr. Hayes. Mel. Oh, sweetheart. I could never be mad at you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Lena looked back and forth between her parents. So you hired Mama to work for you, so you could see me? Mr. Hayes looked embarrassed. I found out where you lived. I knew your mom needed a job, and I thought if I hired her, I could get to know you without scaring you. That's why you wanted to teach me chess? I wanted to spend time with you. I had no idea you'd be so amazing at it. Lena was quiet again, processing everything like a complex chess puzzle. Then she said something that surprised everyone. Can I still call you Mr. Hayes? Daddy feels weird right now. You can call me whatever makes you comfortable. Okay, and can we still play chess every day? Every day for the rest of our lives, if you want. Good. Lena smiled for the first time that morning. But I have one more question. What's that? If you're my daddy and Mama is my mama, does that mean we're a family now? Mr. Hayes and Sophia looked at each other. They hadn't talked about what would happen next. We're figuring that out, Sophia said carefully. I want us to be a family, Lena said firmly. But I want to do it slowly, like learning a new chess opening. You have to practice before you get good at it. That sounds very wise, Mr. Hayes said. And I want to keep my name, Lena Peterson. Maybe someday I'll be Lena Peterson Hayes. But right now I'm proud to be a Peterson. Sophia started crying again, but these were happy tears. You're such a smart little girl. I get it from both of you, Lena said matter-of-factly. A knock on the door interrupted them. It was Dr. Lin. "I'm sorry to bother you, but the tournament starts in 1 hour. Are you ready, Lena?" Lena looked at her parents, both of them now, and smiled. "I'm ready. Let's go show everyone what a Peterson girl can do." "Peterson girl?" Mr. Hayes asked, raising an eyebrow. "That's right. And maybe," Lena added with a grin, "what a Hayes girl can do too." As they walked toward the tournament room, Lena felt different. Not because she was about to play the biggest chess game of her life, but because for the first time ever, she had a complete family walking beside her. The scared feeling from the night before was gone. Instead, she felt like a chess piece that had finally found its proper place on the board. Strong, protected, and ready for anything. But first, she had a tournament to win. "Let's go play some chess," she said, taking both her parents' hands. And for the first time in 9 years, Arthur Hayes, Sophia Peterson, and their daughter Lena walked together as a family. The tournament room buzzed with excitement. News reporters crowded around the entrance with big cameras and microphones. Word had spread about the 8-year-old chess genius who was playing in her first tournament finals. "How do you feel about playing for the championship?" a reporter asked, shoving a microphone towards Lena's face. Lena looked up at the reporter with her big gray eyes. "I feel nervous but excited. Chess is like solving puzzles, and I love puzzles. Do you think you can beat someone 8 years older than you?" "I don't know, but I'll try my best." Her opponent in the finals was Daniel Ramirez, a 16-year-old chess champion from California. He was tall with black hair and serious dark eyes. He had won 5 major tournaments and was already being called a future grandmaster. "I don't want to hurt the little girl's feelings," Daniel told the reporters. "But this is a serious competition. I've been training for this my whole life." In the warm-up room, Dr. Lin helped Lena prepare for the biggest game of her life. "Remember everything we practiced," Dr. Lin said gently. "Don't think about winning or losing. Just play your best chess." But Lena seemed distracted. She kept looking toward the audience where her parents sat together for the first time. Everything felt different now that she knew the truth. "Are you okay?" Dr. Lin asked. "I think so. But, Dr. Lin, what if I lose?" "Then you lose. You're 8 years old and you're already in the finals of a major tournament. That's incredible no matter what happens. But what if I disappoint everyone?" "Lena, look at me." Dr. Lin knelt down so they were eye to eye. "You could lose every game for the rest of your life and you'd still be amazing. Chess doesn't make you special. You make chess special." Lena smiled for the first time that morning. "Thank you. Now, are you ready to go have some fun?" "Yes. Let's play chess." The tournament director called for quiet as Lena and Daniel took their seats at the championship board. The room was packed with hundreds of people, all watching the little girl who had beaten every opponent so far. Daniel set up his pieces quickly and confidently. He had played in rooms like this many times before. Lena arranged her pieces more slowly, touching each one gently like she was greeting old friends. "Good luck," Daniel said, offering his hand. "Good luck to you too," Lena replied, shaking it. The tournament director started the official clock. "Let the championship game begin." Daniel played white, so he moved first. He pushed his king's pawn forward 2 squares, a classic opening that chess players had used for hundreds of years. Lena responded by moving her own king's pawn. So far, everything looked normal. But as the game developed, something special began to happen. This wasn't just chess. This was art. Daniel played aggressively, trying to create quick attacks and end the game fast. He thought that if he put enough pressure on Lena, she would make mistakes like most young players did. But Lena didn't make mistakes. She played calmly and smoothly, like she was conducting a beautiful orchestra. Her pieces moved across the board in perfect harmony, each one supporting the others. Incredible, someone whispered in the audience. She's not playing like a child at all. Look at that combination. After 1 hour, the game was perfectly balanced. Daniel was starting to sweat. This wasn't supposed to be hard. He was a tournament champion. She was just an 8-year-old girl. But Lena wasn't just any 8-year-old girl. She was a chess artist, painting masterpieces on the 64 squares. In the audience, Sophia grabbed Arthur's hand. She's amazing. She gets it from her mother. No, she gets it from both of us, Arthur whispered back. The game continued for another hour. Neither player had a clear advantage. Daniel was playing the best chess of his life, but so was Lena. Then, in the third hour, Lena saw something that made her heart skip. A combination of moves that Daniel wouldn't expect. It was risky. If it didn't work, she might lose quickly. But if it did work, she picked up her queen and moved it to a square that seemed dangerous. Daniel frowned. What was she doing? The move looked like a mistake. He studied the board for 15 minutes, looking for the trap. He couldn't find one. Finally, he moved his king to what seemed like a safe square. Lena moved her bishop. Check, she said quietly. Daniel's eyes widened. Now he saw it. The trap had been set 3 moves ago, and he had walked right into it. He moved his king to the only square available. Lena moved her knight. Checkmate, she whispered. The room exploded. People jumped to their feet, clapping and cheering. Cameras flashed like lightning. Reporters shouted questions. But Lena only saw 2 things. Daniel's smile as he reached across the board to shake her hand, and her parents rushing toward her with tears of joy streaming down their faces. That was the most beautiful game I've ever played, Daniel told her. You're going to be world champion someday. Thank you for such a good game, Lena said. You taught me a lot. The tournament director presented Lena with a trophy that was almost as tall as she was, along with a check for $10,000. Lena Peterson, at 8 years old, you are the youngest tournament champion in chess history. The crowd cheered even louder. Lena stared at the big check with wide eyes. Is this real money? Arthur laughed. It's very real. What would you like to do with it? Lena thought for a moment, looking around at all the chess boards and all the children who had played their hearts out. Can we buy chess sets for kids who don't have any, so they can learn to play too? The reporters loved this answer. They scribbled notes and took more pictures of the little girl who wanted to share her gift with the world. That night, they celebrated at the hotel restaurant. Lena sat between her parents, still wearing her tournament medal and grinning from ear to ear. I can't believe I won, she said for the 10th time. You can, Sophia said. You were incredible out there. We're so proud of you, Arthur added. As Lena fell asleep in her chair, exhausted but happy, her parents looked at each other across the table. She's going to have a different life now, Sophia said softly. People will want to train her, sponsor her, make her famous. Only if that's what she wants, Arthur replied. She's still just a little girl who loves to play chess. But she's our little girl now, Sophia said. She always was. I just didn't get to act like her father until today. So what happens next? Arthur smiled, watching his daughter sleep peacefully. Now we figure out how to be the family we were always meant to be. Outside the restaurant windows, the city lights twinkled like stars. Inside, a family that had been broken was finally whole again. And tomorrow they would start their new life together, one move at a time. 3 months later, life looked very different for the Peterson-Hayes family. Lena still lived with her mother in their cozy apartment, but now Arthur visited every single day. They were taking things slowly, building trust and friendship one conversation at a time. Good morning, sunshine, Arthur said as he walked into the kitchen where Lena was eating breakfast. "Good morning, Dad," Lena said, the word coming much easier now. She had started calling him Dad 2 weeks ago when it finally felt natural instead of strange. It made Arthur's heart sing every time he heard it. They had set up a beautiful chess room in Arthur's mansion, complete with marble boards and crystal pieces. But Lena's favorite place to play was still at the small kitchen table in her mother's apartment. "It feels more like home here," she had explained when they asked why. Sophia came out of her bedroom, ready for work. She had a new job now, not cleaning houses, but working as Arthur's assistant again. This time, though, everything was different. This time, they were partners in raising their daughter. "Ready for school, baby?" Sophia asked. "Almost. Dad and I are just finishing our morning puzzle." Dr. Lin came twice a week to help Lena improve her chess skills. Chess masters from around the world wanted to train her. Television shows wanted to interview her. Tournament organizers wanted her to play in competitions across the country. But Lena's parents had made a decision together. "I want to stay in regular school with my friends," Lena had told them firmly. "Chess is fun, but I like other things too. I want to learn about science and art and books. I want to play on the playground and eat lunch with Emma." "Are you sure?" Arthur had asked. "You could have the best chess teachers in the world." "I already have the best chess teacher," Lena had said, smiling at him. "You." So Lena continued going to Lincoln Elementary School just like always. But now she walked taller and smiled more. Her teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez, noticed the change immediately. "She's more confident," Mrs. Rodriguez told Sophia during parent-teacher night. "She speaks up in class and helps other children with their problems. It's like she found something she was missing." "She found her father," Sophia said simply. At recess, Lena taught her friends basic chess moves using a small magnetic set Arthur had bought for her. Soon, half the third grade knew how the pieces moved. "You're making chess cool," her friend Emma said. "Before you, I thought it was just a boring grown-up game." "Chess isn't boring," Lena laughed. "It's like having a battle with your brain instead of your fists." But being famous wasn't always easy. Sometimes reporters called the school. Sometimes strangers recognized her at the grocery store. People expected her to be serious and grown up all the time. "I don't like all the attention," Lena told her parents one evening. "I just want to be a normal kid who happens to be good at chess." "You don't have to do anything you don't want to do," Arthur promised. "Being good at chess doesn't mean you belong to the world. You belong to us. But people keep saying I have a responsibility, that I should compete in more tournaments and become famous." "Your only responsibility is to be happy and healthy," Sophia said firmly. "Everything else is just extra." One day, a very special visitor came to see them. His name was Grandmaster Petrov, and he was the current world chess champion. He had flown all the way from Russia just to meet Lena. "I wanted to see this little girl everyone is talking about," he said in his thick accent. They played a game in Arthur's library. Lena lost, but she played beautifully and learned 3 new strategies. "You have a gift," Grandmaster Petrov told her afterward. "Not just for chess, but for bringing joy to the game. Your style is natural and creative. Don't let anyone change that. Will you teach me more?" Lena asked hopefully. "No," Grandmaster Petrov said, surprising everyone. "You don't need teaching. You need playing. Play with joy, not pressure. Play because you love it, not because you have to." After he left, Lena sat with her parents on the couch in their small living room. "I've been thinking," she said seriously. "I want to keep playing chess, but I want to do it my way." "What's your way?" Arthur asked. "I want to have fun. I want to help other kids learn. I want to spend time with my family, And I want to go to school and have friends and maybe learn to play piano too. That sounds perfect, Sophia said. And maybe, Lena added with a mischievous grin, I want to beat Dad at chess more often so he doesn't get too proud. You already beat me most of the time, Arthur protested. I know, but sometimes I let you win so you don't feel bad. They all laughed until their stomachs hurt. 6 months later, Lena started something that would change many lives. She convinced her school to let them start a chess club that met every Friday afternoon in the library. Kids from 1st grade to 5th grade gathered around small chessboards, learning and playing and having fun. Some were naturally good, some struggled with the basics, but everyone was welcome. Chess teaches you to think ahead, Lena told the new members during their first meeting. But it also teaches you that it's okay to lose. When you lose, you just learn something new and try again. Arthur watched from the library doorway, his heart full of pride. She's going to change the world, Dr. Lin said, joining him. She already changed mine, he replied. The chess club grew and grew. Soon, other schools wanted to start their own clubs. Lena helped them by visiting and teaching the basics. She even convinced a toy company to donate chess sets to schools that couldn't afford them. Every kid should get to try chess, she said during a television interview. You never know who might love it. At home that evening, the three of them invented a new game they called family chess. Instead of playing against each other, they took turns moving pieces for the same team, working together to solve chess puzzles. This is my favorite game, Lena announced after they solved a particularly difficult puzzle. Why? Sophia asked. Because in this game, we all win together. Outside, snow began to fall softly against the windows. Inside their warm apartment, a family that had almost lost each other played games by the fireplace. Lena moved a knight to a perfect square, and Arthur showed her an even better move. Sophia brought hot chocolate with extra marshmallows and watched her daughter's eyes light up with pure joy. I love you both so much, Lena said suddenly, looking up from the chessboard. We love you too, sweetheart, they said together. Arthur reached over and hugged both his girls close. We're the luckiest family in the world. Not lucky, Lena corrected him wisely. We just finally learned how to play the game right. And in that moment, sitting in their small apartment with chess pieces scattered across the coffee table and snow falling outside, they all knew that the best victories weren't won on tournament boards. The best victories were won in living rooms and kitchens, with laughter and love, and the promise of tomorrow. Lena Peterson Hayes, age 8, chess champion and daughter extraordinaire, was exactly where she belonged, home. Sometimes the most important moves in life aren't made on a chessboard. Sometimes they're made in the quiet moments when families choose to love each other, one day at a time. A daughter who had finally found her complete family. Sometimes the most beautiful victories happen not on chessboards, but in the quiet moments when love brings people together. Where are you listening from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. I love hearing from our amazing community around the world. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button to help spread kindness to more people who need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories that remind us what really matters in life. Speaking of heartwarming stories, click on the video appearing on your screen right now for another incredible tale that will restore your faith in the power of love and family. Until next time, remember, sometimes the greatest treasures are found in the most unexpected places.